Alright, we're checking out this video by Captain Gold. Could you survive the Harran virus in Dying Light? Let me know if you could survive this. Anyways, let's get into it.
In January of 2015, Techland and Warner Brothers released what would become a classic staple of the zombie gaming community, being the critically acclaimed and beloved Dying Light. This awesome fusion between Dead Island and parkour not only gave fans of the undead genre an amazingly unique sandbox experience, centered around the freedom of movement associated with free running, but one which was also noted for having a uniquely terrifying nighttime experience.
Yeah, trying to play this game in the nighttime. Yeah, it's one of the most painful horror fucking cardiac arrest type of fucking events in your life. I'm telling you, don't play this game during the night.
Now, given the nightmarish horrors of Dying Light's Harran virus, and its special infected, I figured y'all would want to hear my take on whether or not the average person could survive such a cataclysmic zombie outbreak. As such,
Yeah, that scene was rough. And this was during the beginning, the first mission, or the prologue of the game, where you get saved, and one of the people just dies.
I'll be breaking down the Harran virus and its special infected for both games, while then giving you my conclusion on your odds of survival. So sit back and relax in your safe house, as this is going to be a thrilling thought experiment.
Okay, I'm ready. Oh, he's got a weapon. What the fuck?
Damn.
Holy shit. Oh.
The Harran virus. The combat in this game is like one of the best. It's just like fucking fling zombies across rooftops and just building.
Being a variation of rabies, the Harran virus is primarily spread through the exchange of bodily fluids.
I'll make a video reacting to rabies, but rabies is generally fucking terrifying.
That's why the primary vector of infection is through bite wounds, scratches, lacerations, and the ingestion or exposure of infected fluids via open wounds or mucous membranes. As such, under normal circumstances, it's highly unlikely that such a virus would spread globally, as infection explicitly requires physical contact in the vast majority of situations. But the Harran virus is not your typical bloodborne pathogen. More on that later. That being said, those infected with the Harran virus will experience severe flu-like symptoms, seizures, headaches, nausea, sudden loss of consciousness, and overall weakness when they're at stage 1 of infection. Before long, victims of this contagion will experience hallucinations, while their skin will begin to turn pale. Veins may be noticeably visible, and the host's eyes may turn somewhat
This scene was hella sad. You had to kill her, bro.
red before finally turning into a viral. That being said, the Harran virus does not react well to UV light, and with the use of the fictional suppressant antizin, the infection's progression can be completely halted. Another observation that's worth noting is the fact that the infected don't seem to like large bodies of water, considering that they avoid it like they avoid UV light, hence suggesting that this virus is still somewhat like the rabies virus in that regard. Despite all of this, scientists eventually created a vaccine for this virus, essentially saving the world. But eventually, the Harran virus is mutated by a bunch of fucking morons working for the global relief effort, all because they wanted to weaponize the pathogen.
Yeah, this was revealed like near the end. The jury wanted to weaponize the virus and use Crane to get the cure, like steal the cure. And he refused to. But if you play the game, you should already know that.
Pathogen for the purpose of profiting off of military interests. This new strain, known as the tachy-transmissive Harran virus, or THV, is noticeably deadlier and far more infectious than the initial Harran virus. We know that this virus has a far shorter incubation period than the original contagion, while also spreading much faster. The virus essentially degrades human DNA, and results in the following 4 stages, being flu-like symptoms for stage 1, high fevers and physical deterioration in stage 2, further physical degradation accompanied by seizures, muscle spasms, and the loss of speech in stage 3, and finally stage 4, where genetic mutations become irreversible. As it was for the original virus, THV can be suppressed with the use of antizin, although unlike the original, one can halt the progression of the virus by merely basking in UV light for prolonged periods of time. It should be noted that both methods only really work prior to stage 4. That being said, both viruses can cause insane mutations that turn...
So this is during Dying Light 2, which deals with the second mutated virus of the original virus.
normal infected persons into special infected freaks. And that's precisely what I'm going to be covering in the next segment.
Oh, these fucking ads, bro.
Oh wait.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah, they heard that one.
How am I gonna get there?
I believe in you.
And the virus gonna come start running towards you.
I'm here.
We've got cup.
The infected.
So I think it'd be safe to say that it's fairly obvious that one's odds of survival will be highly dependent on the sort of zombies they'd be dealing with. And unfortunately for all of us, the Harran virus forces us to deal with a literal cornucopia of pain, delivering to us a laundry list of special infected that makes survival incredibly difficult. When someone initially turns, they become a fucking viral. These freaks are fast as fuck and are capable of parkour, and they actually...
Just because it's the earliest stage, so like you still have human-like function.
seemingly retain some of their fucking sentience, often aiming to preserve their well-being by dodging attacks, avoiding...
Yo, these guys are fucking annoying to kill. They like dodging. Like they can dodge and just run away.
deadly or harmful obstacles, and also occasionally begging for mercy when you're beating their ass. These literal tweakers are also attracted to loud noises, often rushing to the origin point of any loud source of noise. Oh, and here's a scary thought for all of you. Virals know how to open doors.
I didn't know that. That's genuinely terrifying.
Now, if these virals are left outside for a considerable amount of time, thus being exposed to plenty of UV radiation, they become biters. These shambling monstrosities care little for their own well-being and cannot run.
Yeah, these are like the majority normal infected. Like probably 80% of whole Dying Light is just filled with these.
They are pretty durable though. Now some of them, for some reason, emit toxic gas and others are noticeably bulkier than others. Some of these biters get a stat buff at night as well, becoming night walkers.
Yeah, see, this is why you don't go out at night.
These assholes will suddenly learn how to run and climb like a viral, while literally roaring to alert all other infected of your presence. That being said, if a viral stays secluded in the dark, away from UV radiation for prolonged periods of time, they may just turn into a volatile. These...
Yeah, and this is where the game just turns into like the horror movie. Because these guys are literally unkillable.
godless marauding killing machines are stupidly durable, stupidly fast, can fucking parkour better than you, will call for help, and are strong as fuck. But they only come out at night and are easily repelled by UV light, which is a relief. But you want to know what isn't a relief? They can seemingly reproduce somehow in volatile nests, which, by the way...
Yeah, there's a mission where you see this, it's like the most disturbing thing in a fucking zombies game. Like, look at them. They're like crowded together like it's a ritual.
is not a location you ever want to visit during the day. Volatiles also have members of their tribe known as alphas, who are just your typical volatile, but fucking stronger. And then there's the tyrant volatile in Dying Light 2, who's even worse than the aforementioned freaks. If a kid gets infected, they turn into a screamer, who screeches so loudly it literally causes you pain, while also attracting virals, volatiles, and biters. Some of the infected will mutate into goons, or strong jerks who will bitch slap you and smash you with their rebar hammer. Then there's the demolishers, or Dying Light's version of the tank. This big fella will run you down and blow your back out, and God forbid you ever run into both of these variants at one time. The average person will literally get bench pressed by these bodybuilder infected. Then there's the frog, or spitter, or whatever the fuck it...
These guys are like the second and most annoying after virus. They're easy to kill compared to virus, but they do like acidic damage.
It's called, this ugly creature will just spit corrosive acid at you while slowly running away like a bitch. There's even a special infected whose entire job is just to run away. And who could forget about the Alu Akbar infected who can literally blow you to kingdom come. And there's also all of the updated variants from Dying Light 2, many of which aren't all that different from the original game's special infected. But there are some notably different variants, like Dying Light's own Charger and Hunter variants. All in all, the number of threats presented to us by the Harran virus makes survival.
I will say they did the zombie mutations really good. Like, better than Left 4 Dead in my opinion.
Extremely difficult because each special infected requires different approaches to avoid, escape, and or to terminate said special infected.
Okay.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay.
What, totally well worth the wait, isn't it? Yeah, just wait.
Yeah.
This was the most useless mission.
What the hell was that?
I found Jeff, and the gas is back on.
That's a relief.
Yeah, it looks like it's back on. It's fucking gone.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid you're gonna have to find a replacement.
Yeah, no, nobody's surviving this.
Given all of the information we've covered thus far, could you realistically survive a Harran virus outbreak?
I mean, yeah, because it's like it's a bloodborne infection, so it requires contact. So if you just quarantine an area, like a country or a city, whatever, so you could just outlive the virus. And I mean, nuclear, you just nuke the place, honestly. So I think, yeah, you would probably survive this.
Well, within the lore of the first game, the virus spread slowly enough to allow the military to quarantine all of Harran behind an Attack on Titan-styled wall, which is, to be frank, an impressive engineering feat. But during the time skip between Game 1 and Game 2, the tacky transmissive Harran virus managed to cause all of humanity to fall, which is somewhat mysterious to me given that the virus requires physical contact and that the infected aren't particularly fond of large bodies of water. Nor does the outbreak occur everywhere simultaneously. There's a clear...
The only way it would spread is through a bridge or through an airplane.
Clear and distinct epicenter.
Or maybe a ship, but still, that requires you to go through water.
To both outbreaks. Yet it somehow spread across vast oceans undetected when it couldn't even spread beyond the confines of a quarantined third world city.
Are you 50 or older? You already know the importance of shingles protection. Did you know pneumococcal
city? But given that symptoms don't occur instantly, I guess it's fairly plausible for this virus to make it across a transatlantic or trans-Pacific flight undetected. Which, again, is highly suspect to me given that countries would shut down their borders pretty quickly and would likely be screening refugees at every conceivable port of entry and exit. But then again, that might not happen in lesser developed nations. So I guess it's possible, for example, for the virus to land in, say, Venezuela, via an infected person who has not yet developed symptoms, and then for it to spread like crazy until one day massive hordes make it to and break through the US border. Assuming they somehow managed to cross the Panama Canal. It's also possible that countries felt safe with the existence of the initial vaccine for the original virus. That is, until it became pretty apparent that said vaccine was useless. Who fucking knows? All I know is that the second game's lore makes no sense to me. From an epidemiological perspective, at least. Realistically speaking, neither variant of the Harran virus can bring humanity to its knees. It would seriously require mass incompetence at an epic scale for such an outcome.
The second game was cool in its design and everything, but story-wise, I didn't like it that much compared to Kyle's fucking storyline in 1.
To actually occur. I will say this though, aside from the issue of global contamination, I'd say whatever country or continent this pathogen breaks out in is essentially cooked. Every initial infected person is a viral, and once the special infected begin to increase in numbers, one's odds of survival will begin to plummet. Once society breaks down and the power grid goes out, volatiles will be feasting on non-infected persons, while reproducing in their nests. Like, you literally need...
Yeah, and dying light is essential. Without light, you're fucking finished. Because, there's gonna be volatiles everywhere.
UV lights and a source of reliable electricity in order to reliably survive the night. Without such resources at your disposal, you would have to be incredibly stealthy and low profile to avoid being detected by ravenous apex predators who are actively hunting for prey every night.
Bro, that
And
scene is
sure, you
terrifying.
don't need headshots to kill these infected, but the fact that virals can open doors, climb shit, and dodge
I didn't know they
attacks
can open
makes
doors.
the initial outbreak insanely dangerous. You literally need to know parkour just to have a chance at surviving. Even using a firearm will
cooked.
sound the dinner bell for your location. And if you come face to face with a demolisher or even a goon, a gun might not even save you. They're literally armored with hardened skin and dense muscle fibers. And God forbid you fail to notice a spitter sniping you with corrosive acid. That may, in itself, be infectious. Also, for some reason, these infected persons don't seem to starve or die of dehydration. If they did, the Harran quarantine zone would have been infection-free after some time. Yet that never fucking happened. So unless humanity
What are they going through photosynthesis? The fuck? That made no sense.
kills all of the infected, they will remain in our world, with some turning into
This shit is disturbing.
volatiles that can reproduce and hence replenish their numbers. Things could even be worse if we can get confirmation on whether or not the infected, and volatiles in particular, feed on livestock or wildlife. Now, in order to survive in such a scenario, one would need access to a reliable source of electricity, UV lights, the ability to maintain said electrical systems, and a sturdy, soundproof shelter, which is not easy to physically scale or climb over. Even the countryside wouldn't be safe, as volatiles will eventually expand their territory into remote areas for the purpose of creating volatile hives. We literally see this happen in Dying Light's The Following DLC. No place is truly safe when you're contending with predators that actively hunt people every fucking night. Hell, the virals hunt for you during the day and night. So aside from needing electricity, UV lights, a mini fortress, and soundproofing, one could potentially survive by digging a large moat around your community or base. You could also survive by living at sea or by living in extremely remote areas that are highly unlikely to be visited by wandering virals and volatiles. Oh, and I almost forgot this, but you can actually use infected guts or blood to camouflage yourself from the infected in the same way you could
Just don't
in
get
The
in your
Walking
mouth
Dead.
or your fucking.
So yeah, that's a neat little survival tip. Sadly, for most of you viewing this, these options will not be available to you if the outbreak occurs in your region. Because on top of having to contend with all of these problems, you'd also have to deal with the inevitable localized collapse of society in your area, which not only would entail supply shortages for essential goods, but would also mean the collapse of energy infrastructure and the manifestation of desperate and violent survivors who might take your shit. Long story short, your odds of survival are pretty fucking dim. By the way, if you'd like to see me play Dying Light, let me know in the comments section. As a matter of fact, I recently played the game with my good friend McSpoon.
Well, that was the video. I'll link it down in the description or the comments. Let me know if you would survive. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Give me to 1K by the end of 2026.